Welcome back, guys. Today, as promised, is my recipe for granola. Now, I had never made granola before. I didn't necessarily do it because I thought it was going to be healthier for my family. I didn't really do it because I thought it was going to be more cost effective. Came across a video on YouTube and I was like, wow, that's so freaking easy. It's just oatmeal. It's literally oatmeal full of stuff that you put in your oven, and that's it. So I'm going to go over the ingredients for what I use, and I'll come right back. For our granola, or my granola, I should say, I'm going to use 4 cups of whole grain old-fashioned oats, 1/3 of a cup of coconut flakes, 1/3 of a cup of chopped pecans, 1/3 of a cup of almonds, a 1/4 cup of honey, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 1/3 a cup of these pepitas, a 1/2 a cup of olive oil, but you can use coconut oil or vegetable oil, whatever oil you prefer. I've used multiple oils. I just use whatever I happen to have. I'm going to throw in a tablespoon of my homemade vanilla, which if you haven't made vanilla, you should try. It's actually pretty fun. And because it's the season, I'm gonna put in a tablespoon or so of my homemade pumpkin spice. Okay, well, I've got all my dry ingredients. I've got my oil, my honey, and my maple syrup. So we're just gonna give this a nice mix. I always put my oil in first because then I use the same measuring cup that I had my oil in for my honey, and then I don't have to sit there and like, you know, scoop it out because it's sticky. It pours right out because my measuring cup is nice and greased up. See how all that works? I have added chia seeds to this before, but when I do, I will add my chia seeds last because I find that if I add them first, they kind of just fall to the bottom. But if I add them after I put the oil and my maple syrup and honey in there, that it helps them stick to everything else. So let's see. Next, we are going to put in my homemade pumpkin spice, which is so easy. There's a good gazillion of recipes for pumpkin spice out there on the internet. It's pretty much cinnamon base, and then it's like ginger, cloves, nutmeg, pretty much everything you would put into a pumpkin pie or an apple pie all together. So I do that, and it's just so much easier than going and why are you going to go to the store and buy pumpkin spice mix when you know that you probably have all this stuff just sitting in your cabinet. So that's all mixed up. Smells super yummy, smells like fall. And then my homemade vanilla extract. This is basically vanilla beans and vodka. That's all it is. It sits in my cabinet. I made this February of 2020. Yeah, so it's much better. Much more of a vanilla flavor than commercial stuff. Commercial stuff does have some water in it. This has no water in it. It's literally just alcohol and, ooh, there's a little bit more honey in there. No, not much. What should we call it? It's not coming out. Whatever. Anyway, the vanilla that you buy in the store, I believe, has water in it. You could get vanilla beans online. It can be expensive, I guess, depending on what kind of vanilla beans you buy. But it's up to you. You know, and there's lots of ways to make extracts. You can make almond extract with pretty much vodka and almonds. You can make coffee extracts, all kinds. There's lots of videos out there on homemade extracts. Super, super, super easy. Something fun to try. You know, you put it in your mason jar, shake it up, put it in a cool, dark place. If you can wait 6 months, then do it. If you can't wait 6 months, then don't. If you don't bake a lot, maybe if you do bake a lot, maybe it's something you want to do. If it's more cost effective to go to Costco and get the giant jug of the Madagascar vanilla, which is really, really good because I used to get it all the time, and then just do it. You don't have to make everything homemade. You know, there's plenty of stuff out there that you buy in the store commercially that's just as good as doing it yourself. Not everything is bad or horrible or full of terrible things. So we're going to go over to the oven, and I'm going to show you how we lay this out. Okay, guys, so all you do is you take your mixture, which is just pretty much oatmeal, with your stuff, pour it out onto a cookie sheet or jelly roll pan, whatever you want to call it, on some parchment paper or tin foil. I've used both. Okay, spread it out nice and even. Oh my God, hopefully you've had your oven you want to have your oven preheated to 300 degrees. Okay, so we have this all nice and spread out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to spread it out nice and even and as thin as you possibly can. You know, it doesn't have to be perfectly thick, but you want to have it nice and even so that you can, so it bakes through and through. So there you go. And there she is in our oven at 300 degrees. We're going to put this in for 20 minutes and then we're going to come back. Well, it's been 20 minutes and I know I took it out of the oven. It looks exactly the same as it did when I put it in the oven, but it's not. So take it out, mix it up, just, you know, toss it around. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I am. This is all very important. It's all part of the process of making the granola. Okay? So you get it tossed around and, well, now that it looks exactly like it did before, at least you think it does, we're going to put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. So we took our granola out, and as you notice, it doesn't sound like granola. It's all soft. What's up with that? That's totally fine. That's totally normal. So now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this alone. We're going to totally ignore it. We're going to let it cool for an hour, at least an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll see what happens. Well, it's been about an hour and our granola has cooled. It's no longer soft. It is now crunchy like granola. Ooh, look. The chunks. Everybody loves the granola chunks. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take it. I have this great big half-gallon jar or whatever from one of my giant ball jars here that I don't use for canning. I use for storage. So I'm just going to pretty much take this, throw it in here, put a lid on it, and we're done. And that's it. Now, while I'm making a mess, putting all of this granola in here, and I hope that you can hear me. When you're done, if you like, you could put raisins in this. You could put dehydrated fruit like strawberries. Maybe you have a little dehydrated apple slices. You don't have to dehydrate them yourself. You can go to the store and get them and put them in here. You can change the flavor profile, maybe make it more of a savory granola if that's what you're into. Hey, I don't know, whatever you want to do. I have not tried cocoa. I guess you could do that. You could always do maybe put peanuts in it, and then when it comes out of the oven, you can put like little carob bits in it or M&Ms. Whatever you want to do. It is up to you. There is no rule for granola. Now, some people, now you notice that this is very loose. You don't get a lot of these big chunks, which everybody likes, which is fine with me. But some people will take a couple of egg whites and whip them up and mix them in before they bake it. I did that once. It didn't really make a difference, so I don't do it anymore. It's just a waste of egg whites, but you can try it. You also don't have to use half molasses, half honey. You could use all molasses or all honey, and it doesn't have to be an exact measurement. You can add a teaspoon of salt. I did not do that this time, but I have done it before. Oh, look, I'm making a mess. Whatchamacallit, because I forgot. But yeah, just don't put your fruits and stuff in the oven. Don't put your chocolates in the oven. Do all that stuff at the end. And of course, I like to do everything simple. So I don't put any fruits or anything in it. Because then when I take it with me, you know, maybe one day I want to put strawberries or bananas. You can make it tropical, you know, if you wanted to. I have dehydrated bananas, pineapples, peaches, mangoes. You know, you could do something like that. It's entirely up to you. So there you go. Hippy Dippy granola. Oh, my shirt, by the way. I got this in the 90s at this joint called Cheap Jack's down in the Village in New York City. I think they're gone now. It's some gourmet chocolate joint. So there you go. That's it. That's me. That's my granola. It's the video that you've all been waiting for. I don't know what I'm going to do next. We'll see. Maybe I'll dehydrate some bananas or strawberries or something like that. Who knows? Good night, guys. See you later.